I want to just pause for a moment from this and pivot just for a second, because I do want to, just as on behalf of IPSI, both of us want to express our deep concerns for, and obviously our solidarity with our Israeli brothers and sisters who are in the Olympics right now. We use the term death threats a lot for different things, but you have to understand how, I mean, for those, some of you have experienced it before, how incredibly frightening it is to receive death threats, to get a letter in your mailbox from someone that you didn't know had your address. These athletes are getting messages sent to them saying, if you come to, and we're not talking about Syria, okay? We're not talking about Lebanon. We're not talking about Iran. We're talking about Paris, France. In Paris, France, Israeli athletes are being told, if you come here, we will kill you, by Islamists in France, ladies and gentlemen. That goes to show how far the West has fallen. The Abraham Accords show that there are actually a lot of people in the Arab world who want to do business with Israel. What it also did over here, it revealed more how this is actually turning into that. The Olympics aren't being held in Iraq, and Israelis are concerned for their life and their safety just being athletes in Paris because of all these death threats they're getting from these Jew-hating Islamists in Paris, France.
No, it just makes me think about Idan with Eurovision, right? So here you have this young lady, all she wants to do is sing and showcase her gift, represent her country, but she now has to do this underneath a cloud of security. I can't even imagine the angst and the fear and just like having to keep looking over one's back. And to your point, now you have these athletes who have trained for years upon years upon years. The Olympic Games are regarded as pretty much the ultimate games for any sport other than soccer, because that's the World Cup, football. And so here you are, you've trained all this time. It's a dream come true. And my heart goes out to the fact that how many of them are actually just then going to be able to perform and just be there and do their thing without having to worry, looking over their shoulder every single time they receive a message or a piece of mail. Like, is this going to be an invitation to my own funeral, which some of these athletes have been getting? So it's appalling. It is wicked. It is awful. We're praying for them. Our hearts go out to them. At any point in time that we can show them love, anybody, even if you don't regard yourself as a Zionist, even if you don't care for Israel or you don't care for the Jewish people, just on a basic human level, right? Just on a basic human level, think about them, pray for them. Again, we can't keep ringing it enough that what happens with the Jews is just an example, a prelude to what is going to happen with the Christians and other people in the West. They have made it very clear in Paris and in other places in the West. I mean, Michigan, my gosh, we haven't even got it for today. Michigan, United States, the march that happened last week, they are loud and proud about their intentions with the West. So yeah.
When our CEO gave his speech the other day in Boston, he used the example of the raid on Entebbe. The Israeli hostages who were trapped in Uganda, and the operation that was done under the radar to rescue them. The only IDF casualty or life that was lost was Yonatan Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu's brother, and which that's a whole other thing in itself. But one of the things that I didn't know that our CEO talked about was that, well, this part I did know. Kenya allowed Israel to refuel in the country because they just wasn't enough fuel to take a plane from Israel to Uganda and back with all the stuff that was in it. They had cars in it, they had all kinds of cargo, so they had to refuel. So Kenya said you can refuel here, and so that was an example of Kenya as a country, as Africa standing up and saying, no, we will help you. Once Idi Amin knew what was going on, and afterwards when he found out that Kenya helped Israel, he had the Kenyans who are living in Uganda slaughtered. Now, these are Kenyan people. It's not the Kenyan government, just people who belong to the country of Kenya who are living, maybe visiting Uganda, had them slaughtered. And our CEO was using that as an example to say, like Rabbi Jonathan Sachs said of blessed memory, what happens to the Jewish people never stays with the Jewish people. So Idi Amin, his hatred was to Israel because for different reasons, but the main one was that Israel, there was relations there, but he wanted weapons from Israel so that he can just run roughshod and commit genocide. And Israel said, yeah, we're not going to do that. And so he got mad, and then he started cursing Israel and all that stuff. So his hatred toward Israel spilled over into hatred for Africans, fellow Africans, slaughtering Kenyans and slaughtering Ugandans, by the way, during his reign, right? Because hatred is a cancer that spreads all over the place. And we have to understand that when we see people do things like Eden, like when they block her from singing, that's you know it's just pure hatred, because if that's our standard, even if everything you say about Israel is true, which we know it isn't, why don't you do that kind of protesting when a Palestinian is singing? Gaza oppresses black Palestinians in Gaza. Did you know that? I know, right? Did you know there are Afro-Palestinians in Gaza that are oppressed? Did you know that they still call them slave as a nickname? Do you know they drag people in the streets who just say they don't agree with Hamas? Do you know why don't you do that why didn't you do that when a representative from Iran came to New York just a few months ago? The person who heads the International Court of Justice is from Lebanon. Yeah. If you really were about justice, you should be angry all the time about every single country in the world. But no, you want to rally around and make feel unsafe an Israeli because she's a Jew who represents her country in Israel. That's a cancer that will spread